the Lord of the Rings on Prime, or in other words, the Lord of the Rings of Power. They just officially released 23 images, posters with characters that are going to be in the series. We're stoked. We're animated. We just did a part 1 breaking down 8 of the images. We're breaking down 8 more in this video, and then we have a part 3 coming out, a breakdown of the last 7 images. But let's go ahead and just jump right in.
Yeah, heck yeah.
It's going to be awesome. This one, whew. I mean, what are your first thoughts on this?
That looks like a treasure map to me, but who knows, right?
Could be
He's got a ring on his necklace, right? Like Frodo used to have.
Why would they put that there if it wasn't some sort of Easter egg of some kind? Like, that seems odd.
He's African descent, right? That's awesome. More variety. So I'm guessing probably Easterling or something like that.
Yep, I think that's a good guess. Harad, Umbar, some of these other places we haven't seen much. Could definitely be. One thing that's interesting that leads to kind of confirm this theory here is I did some digging, researched it a little bit, and apparently these symbols and language here, that's not Elvish, and it's not Dwarvish, and it's not any of the other languages that are commonly known.
Oh.
Like people can go to college and actually study Elvish.
It kind of looks like Egyptian, right? The Egyptian script. So.
I would bet money that this is Easterling. Yeah, Easterling writing. I really would. Or at least Harad or somewhere like the South Middle-earth area, South or East. That's really cool. I think just one of the things, looking at this, it looks like a message. So I would guess that it's the men of Middle-earth going to the Numenorians and saying, hey, there's this dark power rising. Like, help. We know that you guys are legit. We need you to come to Middle-earth and help. That's my guess of the plot. Because that's what happens in the books. So... I wrote here Hobbit. I guess it could be a Hobbit. I don't think Hobbits are going to be focused on at all. I don't even really think they exist at this time. But I could see them just for the sake of throwing it in. They
just
would.
Having one. Just
just a few. Not main characters or anything, but yeah, exactly. But yeah, that sums up this one. Let's go to the next one, which is epic. So cool. Okay, this is cool. So what do we see here? We see rings.
Yeah, he's got 2 rings on.
He's got 2 rings on, and they have gems. In the first video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I talk about how we see rings in these images, but most of them don't have gems. And we know that all the rings of power had gems. That's what differentiated them from just minor rings that had been toyed around with. Rings of power have gems. There are 3 rings given to elves. 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 red. Oh, this is 100% Gil-Galad. 100%. Who's Gil-Galad? Well, you actually see him briefly in the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, when they summarize the battle with Sauron and how Sauron lost his ring.
Right.
You see Sauron kill 2 people. One is the elf lord, the high elven lord, Gil-Galad. The other one is the Numenorian king.
Okay.
Elendil, I believe is his name. Gil-Galad was the last of the high elven kings, or in other words, the elves who had lived in Valinor, lived with the gods, and then came to Middle-earth. He was the last one. All the rest get completely wrecked, and it's awesome. It's so cool. The Silmarillion, great book, but they get wrecked, and he's the last one. And he actually, we know that he had 2 rings. Well, no, I guess he had 2 rings at one point, but he gives one to Círdan, which is another elf, very popular elf in the books. He's the one that has all the ships and sends the elves away back to Valinor. Okay. So he had the red ring.
He's the exit plan guy.
Yeah, but we do see a blue ring with a gem, a blue sapphire ring on this finger, so that's why I think it's Gil-Galad.
Okay.
But just really quickly, because this is one of the main images, I have to say a couple other things. One is this could be Annatar, Lord of Gifts, which is Sauron. When he pretends, he takes on a fair form, goes to the Numenorians, and completely deceives them, gets them to become cultists, and destroys, leads to their downfall. So that's why it could be...
Oh, I got the chills, dude. That's so awesome.
Could be Annatar, Lord of Gifts. Because if this were Gil-Galad, I think it'd be a blue ring and a red ring.
And he's super dressed up, right?
He's showing off.
But that's gotta be who it is.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, because the green ring would be with Galadriel.
Oh, okay.
The red ring would be with Círdan until Gandalf comes, and then he gives it to Gandalf. The blue ring would be with Gil-Galad. So it's the chance that it's that. If it's not either of those 2, it could be one of the 9 ring wraiths as kings. Yeah, so those are my guesses.
That is so sweet.
I know. How cool, right? That would be so epic. I would guarantee that one of these images is Annatar, Lord of Gifts, or Sauron and his hidden fair disguise. That's what he built all the Rings of Power with. I mean, that's why I'm focusing so much time on this image, because this could be big. Mm-hmm. The next one, I don't know.
Super subtle.
Yeah, a kid, probably just a kid, maybe that grows up.
Yeah.
A girl,
the elbows are really short, so it's got to be a kid.
Maybe a Hobbit I wrote, but I don't, like I said in the other video, I don't think, or maybe this video. I don't think there's going to be Hobbits, really. They might be side characters, but nothing big. But
Princess, probably.
Yep. Agreed.
Princess.
Or a shrimpy prince.
We know, I mean, Lord of the Rings has a great history of, like, making princesses kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, like, Arwen. And then...
Arwen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I think if this is a prince/princess, it's going to be a big character in future seasons.
Right.
Like they're introducing the character, you'll have a bond with them, and then they're going to be big later. So, okay, this is, I mean, epic. This is one of the coolest images, in my opinion, the coolest image that they released.
It's Sauron, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't deny who that is.
It's either Sauron or it's the Witch King.
Right.
If they didn't want to release Sauron and his armor.
But isn't it a little early for the Witch King? Because he hasn't fallen yet, really.
That's true. It's unless they're like just including an image of something that is to come in the end of the season or future seasons. But that's a good point.
Yeah.
It might be a little early for this to be a Nazgul or a Black Numenorian, like the Mouth of Sauron. Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That looks like Sauron to me.
Yes. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, this is Morgoth. Morgoth's probably not going to be in the show. Sorry to let you down.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't need armor.
No.
He's not
but
type.
He looks cool, though, in armor. Like, there's always, like, fan art and stuff with Morgoth, and it's like, yes. But he didn't do much fighting, really, after he got kind of wrecked. But, yeah, anyways, well, that's another video. Okay, this one. Interesting. The first thing I see, obviously, is the apple. In the first video, we talked about the white tree, Nimloth, which the white tree of Gondor comes from. I don't know why else they would put a fruit. Like, that's gotta be symbolizing something. But it's not a cool fruit, it's just an apple. Yeah.
See, but in my mind, I see this and I think Radagast.
That is what some people said in the comments.
I mean, I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's Radagast the Brown.
Okay.
But
timeline's a little weird with wizards, and we'll get into that with one of these future images with the blue wizards. Possibly, if they wanted to build out Radagast's character.
He's not quite crazy, though. Yet, right? Didn't he go crazy fairly recently in terms of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, that's kind of artistic liberty right there. There's like 2 lines with Radagast in the book, so there's I do think that Saruman does kind of give him a little roast, which is where that came from, about how he's kind of not the best wizard. But yeah, so I mean, I think that it might not be a wizard, but who knows? We'll see. This next one, I mean, you could dive into this image for a long time, and it's kind of cut off here for some reason online, but there's a face in his armor up there, or armor, or whatever his
it's like pauldron or whatever.
Yeah, whatever he's wearing. Some people were on YouTube thinking that's like an ent on his chest, and they're actually, you can kind of see the beard here in the mouth.
Oh, okay.
The Numenorians, when they first make it to Middle Earth, they start like chopping down crazy trees because they were wrecking all their trees back on their island, and a lot of the men there didn't like that. So some people were theorizing that it was the men in that area. I believe, what's it called? Men in Eriath or Enenwaith. These areas that it could be. They're basically the ancestors of the Dunlandings.
Oh, okay.
Who are hired by Saruman to fight Rohan and stuff back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know.
We'll see.
Looks more like an elf to me, to be honest.
Yeah, very Mirkwood.
Yep.
Very
green elf, sylvan elf.
Yep.
You got the bow and arrow. You got kind of the leafy texture.
Yep.
That's my opinion. If they want to go more with like the kind of different area, could be Khand, could be the Variags, just different regions in the Lord of in the Middle Earth area. So, okay, going on to the next one. Again, we see fruit, but this fruit to me is cooler. It's not just an apple.
Yeah.
Looks like giant raspberries.
Yeah, which raspberries grow on a bush, but if they make it grow from a tree, I'm cool with that.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's not raspberries. I didn't know that. I thought fruit.
But if because you're leading in, you're thinking this is from the tree of Minas Tirith or whatever.
Yeah, where that one came from. Yeah. Just fruit from the white tree. I think that's probably a good guess. I don't know why else they would put fruit unless it's just totally random.
Yeah.
Like it can't be. Like it's got to have more symbolism.
Is that hair that she's holding?
It looks like she has a braid.
Oh, yeah, she's holding a braid. Is it a little girl? Might be a little girl.
Could be. Small hands.
Yeah.
Dirty hands. I don't know how a little girl would have the fruit of the white tree of Nimloth. That's kind of a sacred tree, but No idea.
Okay.
That's another no idea one. I don't have much to say about it besides that fruit tree could be big.
It seems like there's a lot of poor. There's like a few people that are kind of poorer, rougher looking.
And at the very least, I mean, it's good detail. They're not having everybody being super clean and super dressed up. Like, that's pretty unrealistic for this type of show.
When they didn't have soap.
True. Okay, this is where we get into the Blue Wizards. And there's a little debate on this because Tolkien actually has 2 writings on this. In one of his writings, he says that the Blue Wizards didn't come till the Third Age with Saruman, Gandalf, and Radagast.
Okay.
That's when they arrive. That's when those 3 wizards arrive on Middle-earth. And there's one writing where Tolkien says, yeah, they came at that time too. There's another writing, though, that says that they came in the Second Age along with Glorfindel when he's resurrected.
Oh.
And I talked about that Glorfindel, one of the coolest ones that I'm almost certain is in one of the first 8 images that we watched. So go back and watch our first video if you haven't. But I think Blue Wizards. I think people have been wondering about the Blue Wizards since the books came out. Like, we know that there's Blue Wizards.
Yeah.
And there's nothing on them.
They just talk about them every once in a while. It's like,
where the heck are they?
Where the heck are the Blue Wizards? So.
And guess what? The Blue Wizards were sent to Eastern Middle-earth. Like the eastern and southern parts that we haven't heard about at all are where the Blue Wizards went.
And there's a lot of characters from there. At least that's what we're thinking.
They've told that. They've told us that in the video that we're going to explore parts of Middle-earth that we've never seen before.
I love that.
Yeah. I think that's either that or I also wrote like a doomsday Numenorian prophet, like somebody in Numenor that's saying like, hey, this cultish stuff that's going on.
Is he holding a... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Because, like I said, Numenor has a downfall. They kind of go all like haywire, and it gets destroyed. And it could be like somebody, a Numenorian, that's like, "Hey, we gotta basically repent, stop this craziness," and yeah.
That looks like a wizard staff to me. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed.
From layman's terms, that's a wizard staff.
Yes. I hope that we get some wizards, man. Like, that's a key thing of Tolkien's
Yeah, and I don't really I've never really been sure on what wizards can do. But they're cool.
It's like they have artistic liberty with it, man. They can like there's not a whole lot said in the books, so I think that they can kind of experiment and do what they want and make it cool. So that wraps up these 8 images. We're gonna make a part 3. If you haven't seen part 1, go back, watch it. I'll link it in the description. But part 3 is coming right up. We're gonna review the last 7 images and pump them out. We got some cool stuff. There's some epic ones that we haven't even talked about yet. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below what you think about these images.
Sweet, I'm excited.
Let's do it.